Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. Today we're going to be talking about what if and a lot of what ifs. So hopefully you're all going to enjoy this episode. Get involved in the comment section, smash the like button, and more importantly, subscribe to the channel. We're close to 25k, so you can help us get there as well. Earl, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks.
Good stuff. And welcome to Transfer Hub XTRA. The thumbnail is different to what we normally put out there for a transfer hub. I'll briefly describe what it's all about. You can probably see it's a bit wild with Emery and Monchi and their brain being quite telepathic. So it's a thumbnail that's going to be for after we've done transfer hubs. So a rumour will come out on a specific player. We'll do our usual transfer hub. But if a couple of days later something else is happening, then this is the place where we're going to be able to chat about it. And things you've got to look out for is look out for the writing that's on the contract. That'll tell you what the episode's about. And then in all of the lightning, I'll be able to put players' faces, so you'll be able to see who we're talking about in that one as well. So this is more like a Transfer Hub extra show. Right then, Earl. On this episode, I want to be taking a look at what if Ollie Watkins leaves, what if Emi Martinez leaves, what if Bailey leaves, or what if nobody leaves? So we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about all of these what ifs and permutations. And if a player leaves, what type of player do we replace them with? Is it like for like, or are we after something a little bit different as this Villa team has evolved under Unai Emery? We'll start off with, I think, probably the nicest one. What if nobody leaves? And you can look at sort of Newcastle for an example of this, of what they've been able to do with PSR is sell none of their big players. So last summer they had PSR problems. No big first team hitter left. Sort of Jolinton stayed, Kamara stayed, Isak stayed. They all stayed. But what they did do is they sold Anderson and Yakuba Minta, who were, one was an academy player that they really didn't want to leave. Anderson's had a great season at Forest, and Minta was a player that was out on loan, come back, and they've not really seen much of him. So my question to you, Earl, is there a possibility that all of the players that have been mentioned leaving Villa, is there a world that they stay or not?
Well, I think that all comes down to finances, doesn't it? Doesn't it really? I think we've got plenty of players that we could sell, kind of the fringe players who are out on loan, who we could see leave. But it just comes down to how fast we could potentially move them on before that June 30th deadline.
Yeah, I think that the time frame with PSR is the problem, isn't it? Because we can all say, okay, we could sell Buendia. We'll probably be able to sell Nedeljkovic, Ealing Jr., Dobbin. Those types of players could leave Aston Villa and could make, Dendonka. We're scraping the barrel as we get a bit further down the list, aren't we? But, they could all leave for like a good sum of money. Like, Buendia, what was that? He's valued at around 16, 17, 20. Bailey, 25 maybe. That's a good sum of money there, but it's how quick you can do it and whether those teams are prepared to pay the money straight away. And general negotiations of, if you wanted someone, say, like Bailey, you wouldn't buy him straight away. You're probably going to wait and try and haggle and get the value down, and then you'll become a little bit more desperate, etc. So I think that's the big problem there. The other little caveat that I'll spin on this is that if everybody was to stay, do you think we'd be able to keep going as a squad in the sense of sort of having the same players? Can this squad keep going? Because you look at mid part of this season where we sort of kind of had a little bit of a plateau, didn't we? And we were scraping around for trying to find ourselves a little bit, and then we've been able to do that and recover and have a real good end to the season. So what are your thoughts on sort of where the squad is at? Is there anywhere that you look and you think we've definitely got to sign a player to improve that position?
Yeah, well, the big one for me is centre back. I would say, when we had that lull in the middle of the season, it was kind of around the time when Mings was injured and Powell was injured, and we had Kamara playing centre back, and we brought Dizazi in on loan, but that's obviously not a permanent solution for that position. So I definitely think there are still, whether everyone stays or someone goes, I think there are certain positions, centre back being one, where we do need someone in there regardless.
Yeah. So we'll talk about certain players. Then we'll start off with Ollie Watkins. What if Ollie Watkins does go? What does that sort of mean for Villa? And I think already you're taking Villa's goals out the team, aren't you? There's no Villa player that gets anywhere really near Ollie Watkins' goal contributions, and especially over sort of, I think he's the last 3 seasons he's had 20 plus goal involvements, which is absolutely huge. So if Watkins was to go, that needs replacing, and it's one of those 2 positions for me where you have to get it right, striker and goalkeeper. We've seen, haven't we, in the past where we've had someone like Nyland in goal and it's chaotic and we're scrambling around for goalkeepers. So replacing Ollie Watkins would be very, very difficult. My next sort of point that I'll add to that, and you can sort of answer my questions then, is if he was to go, would it be like for like, or are we after a different type of profile of striker now with the way that we play?
I've thought about this. I've been thinking about it, and my first thing I would say is just don't let him go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't let him go. He's got the contract it's not up for like 3 years. Taking too many goals out of the team, like you say, and I think we made that decision where I think it was either him or Duran we let go, and we let Duran go. So I think it's, you just got to stand by that decision and keep Watkins. It's one of them where he's pretty much guaranteed 20 goal contributions next season. If I were a betting man, you'd put money on it. He's just so consistent, available every week, and yeah, that kind of stuff you have to pay the premium to replace that. So for me, the strategy would be to bring in a younger striker alongside Watkins and kind of mold a younger striker into what you'd want them to be, rather than trying to buy the finished article. I think because that would just be too expensive at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that model is right, really. It's like you're never going to have 2 first choice strikers. It can't work. We kind of sort of like Danny Ings, although Danny Ings probably wasn't the right type of player for us, but you can't keep them happy. But to have a player that's sort of younger that's coming through, and you could say, okay, we had that with Duran and that didn't really work out, but I think Duran's mindset for the job in that role probably wasn't quite right. So, today we've been linked with, I'm going to butcher his first name, Zeliquino Redmond, free agent, 18 years of age. So a player that sort of could come in and, even someone who we've been linked with as well, like Noipan, someone like that who can, although he's not a striker, but those type of players that can just learn and be like that understudy. I think he's perfect, really. And I'm with you. Out of all of these players that currently play for Villa, if I saw a rumour of Watkins leaving, I would be worried. I would be not worried because I think, we can't replace. Worried in the sense of I go into the season with like, can this player live up to those goals and do what he can do? Because Watkins gets a lot of stick from Villa fans, and about the chances he misses, and sometimes, rightly so, he sometimes should do a lot better, but what he actually does and how he plays and model pro, and he's the best English striker in the Premier League, in my opinion. And hopefully he's still going to play under Thomas Tuchel. I'd be a bit worried if he left, because I think, I look at this season and you can say, okay, like he's missed chances, but how many games has he played through this injury? He didn't have a pre-season. He came straight back to Villa, started playing, and I think he's had this niggling injury that he's had to play through. That's, and I think you can't overlook the fact that if a player doesn't trust his body, then you are going to have, he's going to struggle. Doesn't matter how good you are. You can't just rock up and play if you don't trust it. And I think Onana's been exactly the same. So that's where I sit on it. But if he was to go, would it be like for like we're looking for, like a runner in behind stretching, or do you think we need a sort of more of like a hold up, a linker, a touch player on the edge of the box? What would you think we'd go for?
I think an all rounder, to be honest. I think we're the kind of team where we come up against the low blocks from the lower table sides, but we also come up against the higher caliber teams where we're probably going to be the ones sitting back and having to play on the counter. So I think what we need is an all rounder, and for me that would be like for like.
Okay, right. We'll start off with. We'll leave some players till the end. We'll start off with. We'll go through a couple of others then. Oh, you told me a couple of weeks ago about Leon Bailey, and you showed me this graph, didn't you? About one good Bailey. Was it one good Bailey, two bad seasons of Bailey? Was that it, or was it a different ratio?
Yeah. So I was looking at his previous seasons throughout his career, and it's kind of been up and down, up and down. He's had, a good season followed by two poor or mediocre seasons, or riddled with injury, these kind of things, and it's kind of been a pattern that I kind of noticed.
I mean, I look at Bailey, and I think he's been a player that since he came in, he had this injury in his first season, didn't he? And then under Emery, last season especially, he was absolutely incredible. So good. And the drop off in Bailey has been like staggering, hasn't it? It's been. I don't think I've seen a drop off like it, really, especially of how good he was last year to what he's doing now. And can't really get in the team, can he? Can't get any minutes whatsoever. And he's really sort of completely just fallen out of favour. And it looks like Emery's really sort of lost a bit of faith in him, really. So I think Bailey's going to leave. Do you think he's going to leave?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if he does leave, what sort of replacement do you think we're sort of looking at, or do you think the replacement might already be here in Marlon?
I think we would be looking to replace him. I think Marlon can play over that side, and we've seen Rodgers and McGinn there at times, but I would personally be looking to replace him. I think we need a bit more pace in the team. We've got Marlon, like we just said, but yeah, another bit of pace. Maybe someone who could play on either side, just to switch it up at times. I think the difference between like a Bailey type and a Marlon type player, I think Bailey holds the width a bit better, bit more of a creator, whereas Marlon is, in my more of a second striker. In my opinion, he'll always want to be getting into the box and scoring goals. So yeah, for me, like I say, someone with a bit of pace who can hold the width on that right hand side, beat a man, play crosses into the box, create chances.
Beat a man, what's that? It's a struggle on that right hand side, isn't it? We'll might as well stick with the right hand side. Matty Cash, then. The more I think about Matty Cash, the more I think he might stay. And just his role might change it might become a bit of a squad. You know how we've got two on both sides. We've got Digne, we've got Matson, Cash, and Garcia, but we don't know what's happening there. So it's going to be interesting, really, because there was the rumours in the summer, wasn't there, that we valued Cash at around 25, and nobody really got anywhere near the 25. I think AC Milan were looking at him at one point. And, you know, I like Cash. I think he gives everything. He tries his best. And I think he has gone up a level from when sort of, I mean, to be fair, he was all right under Gerrard. He was probably one of the best players that Gerrard had. But I do think he's gone up. I think he's gone up sort of like his tactical brain's gone up a little bit. I think he thinks a bit more on the pitch, which I think that's a good compliment to give him, really. So do you think he'll stay, or do you think Cash will go?
I think he'll stay. Similar kind of reasoning to Watkins in a way, where it's just like I think he's a solid Premier League player, and you know what you're going to get from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it might be a bit early for Garcia. I think we'll see more of him next season, but maybe a bit early for him to be, you know, like the number one choice right back. And then you go in and look him, you know, you'd have to replace him with a top tier first choice right back if you're going to get someone better than Matty Cash. And to be honest, I don't think there's really that many around, like top quality right backs. And so yeah, I think it's a tough position to replace with someone better than Matty Cash. So I think it's similar in the fact where you maybe bring in a young player like Garcia, like we have, and mold them into the player you want in that position.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what he does with Garcia. I imagine he'll get a good, solid pre-season, and hopefully he can push on and stay around, because I really like what I've seen from Garcia, really. So I'm not going to say what if this player leaves. I'm just going to say, how confident are you that Kamara's signing this contract, Earl? I'm pretty calm on it. I think these normally will sort of happen in like a transfer window where he'll just sign it, or it might happen sort of at the end of a transfer window and a player sits down in September and just signs that deal. Is he waiting to see whether in Champions League? He might be. Would he have a lot of clubs that are looking to sort of sign him? Probably, but I think he really likes it at Villa. It was good to see him get his first goal. I think he needs to score. I think he needs to be that threat a little bit more, which I think in the last couple of weeks we're starting to see. So out of 100 then, how confident are you of him signing this contract?
50-50.
Yeah, that's too low for me, Earl.
I love Kamara. I think he's a top player, but I don't think it would be the end of the world if he was the one that was to leave. And probably won't be very popular saying that. But I just think he's got potential for a quick sale there. We could, if we do offer him a contract, it's going to be absolutely enormous wages. He'll be the top earner, so we'd be saving that money as well. And we've got plenty of players in that position, so it's not. I don't think it's like crucial if we leave. I think Onana's going to step up next season. I like Boubacar. We've got Enzo Barrenechea to come back if say Kamara leaves. We've got Barkley in there as well, so we've got plenty of players in that position. I would love to keep Kamara. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's one where I'm like, actually, it might not be the end of the world.
Yeah, I think the rumours are that this deal is the biggest deal that Villa have ever offered a player. So it's a lot of money that's being offered to him. I I think he'll stay, and I think he'll stay, and I think he's a very good player. But I do now want to start to seem like I've mentioned earlier about goals, like just being a little bit more than just the breakup player. That I want to see him being a bit more than like the screener. I know that's his job, but I do want to see him progress a little bit further within that role as well, because I think there's more from that player that's in there. We've seen his goal. I know it's only one goal, but we saw at Bournemouth getting his head on the end of that cross, and breaking through a line there to try and get on. Normally we just seen him stuck on sort of like where Matty cashes and screening. Like there's more there to unlock. So I would like to see that part of his game be unlocked a little bit more as well. So then the last player that we're going to talk about is Emi Martinez. Now, as far as I'm aware, he's currently Villa's highest earner. He's the one that had that massive contract. I think it was last summer. Well, he signed it last season anyway. So is there a case of like we could lose the biggest contracted player with the highest wages and give it to say, is there a case of that's like the little crossover that we do with the contracts? I don't know, but it looks like he's leaving because he was crying. And then, his wife's opened a shop in Sutton, like a baby shop where she's like selling baby clothes. And I'm thinking, like, you wouldn't really do that if you were leaving, would you? But, I think he's going personally. Do you?
It seems that way, yeah.
I just don't feel like there's a way that he doesn't. I think what you're seeing in the media is like a lot of people now going, Villa are linked with this goalkeeper. Villa are linked with it. And that's just like lazy. That's just easy, isn't it? You're looking at Villa going, okay, if he's going, then they're going to probably need a goalkeeper. So how big a deal is it that if he was to leave?
If you asked me a few months ago, my answer might have been different. I think he had a dip in form for some of this season, but I think over the past few weeks is just shown his absolute quality again. It would be a big miss, wouldn't it? It'd be a very, very big miss. He's dragged us up the table, really. I think he was, in my opinion, the catalyst, as much as Emery, the catalyst for Villa's changing fortunes, I think. So it would be a big miss, and then whoever, if speaking hypothetically, someone who's replacing him, it would be big shoes to fill, a lot of scrutiny. I'm sure the media would have a field day. The commentators would be mentioning it every game about Emi Martinez. So, yeah, it'd be a big one, I think.
Yeah, and you're right in the sense of like it's not just the player, it's the person.
Yeah,
Emi Martinez, the person, is like such a presence. He's such a presence for the fan base, but he's such a presence for the team. Imagine in the dressing room, and Martinez is there with his experiences and his belief and his mentality. You take that away. Don't forget, a lot of the times as well, he's got that captain's armband on as well. When McGinn's going off that pitch on 55-60, he's the leader on that pitch. So you're getting rid of that as well. And like I say, I think goalkeeper striker is very, very. You're in sort of like treacherous waters, aren't you? It's sort of like you got to get this right. So, if he is to go, I know it's difficult saying what type of goalkeeper because goalkeepers wear gloves and they've got to make saves, haven't they? But there is more to it than that. It's like, do you think it will be sort of like an out and out schooled ball player?
probably. Yeah, you can see from the links that we've had, it's probably going to be like a La Liga Spanish vibes type goalkeeper. I think who's a ball playing goalkeeper. I think what's important for me is maybe different to what's important for Emery. Like for a goalkeeper, I just want someone who'll do the basics, consistently and reliably save the shots that you expect a goalkeeper to save, and then save some of the ones that you probably expect him not to save. The big one for me with Emi Martinez though is claiming crosses.
Yeah.
Claiming we need. I think that's so massive for Villa with the centre backs that we have, who are not as aerially dominant as other teams. A lot of that is made up for by Emi Martinez. He's very good at commanding his box and claiming crosses. So I think that's a must-have for me as well.
Do you think the Premier League has got really good goalkeepers across the board? I'll look at. I think off the top of my head, like, so someone could say, like, would you take Flecken at Villa? Probably not, but he's quite solid. Like, what is his name for Bruggen at Brighton? Like, he's a good shot stopper, but he's not great with his feet. Sells, great shot stopper, not great with his feet, really. Pope, I think Pope's quite average, really. I don't rate Pope. I think his kicking is dire. Pickford, his shot stopping is brilliant, but his kicking is terrible. So like you're saying, what do you want? Like, you can have a great shot stopper, but the other parts of the game's not there. So what do you think about Premier League goalkeepers? Do you think they're good across the board or not?
I think the standard of goalkeeping is exceptional in the Premier League. I mean, you look at the bottom team, you got Aaron Ramsdale, who's a very good keeper. So yeah, I do think the goalkeepers in the Premier League are good, but like you say, it's all relative and different to the team styles and how they want to play. If you're making a comparison, I guess, to the type of player we'll be looking for, I think we'll be looking for someone who's more like a David Raya from Arsenal.
Yeah.
Or maybe Edison. Someone who's good with the feet and agile kind of goalkeeper.
Yeah, right. So that's our part on what ifs. I wanted to just have a general overview of, like, what if this happens, what if that happens. It's hypothetical, but it's good to get an understanding of sort of like where we are. And it'd be interesting to find out sort of like where you are with your mindsets at home. So it is the day of the Europa League final, Earl. I'm kind of paying attention to it because of Man United and the fact that I don't want either of them to win, but one of them's got to win. And I don't know which one I want to win, but I'm thinking, like, putting my Villa hat on now. So what's the best scenario for Villa? Personally, I think Man United win. Because I think if Man United win, they'll be celebrating. They will be sort of like buzzing into the next couple of days. Not really focused on Sunday. Villa rock up, fully prepared, fully engaged to get the win, get the job done. And then we've got to look at what's happened elsewhere. Or do we want them to lose so they're not buzzing and they're not sort of high on confidence? And it's just like, I don't know. What's the best scenario?
I don't know. Extra time. Extra time is the only thing I can say. I think if they win and then it's like party attitude at Old Trafford, it could give them a boost. I think if they lose and the crowd's a bit against them, I think that might work in our favour more. If it was at Villa Park, I'd probably want them to win, and then they're on the beach.
Yeah. What we want is we want the same vibe that Palace had last game last season. So Villa had got Champions League. We don't care. We've rocked up there and we just got absolutely battered. And hopefully it's the same situation there. But then when you're saying, like, their fans are going to be like, can't be asked to go to Old Trafford on Sunday, I think that suits Villa more, doesn't it?
Yeah. it could go either way. To be honest, it's one of them the old cliches where we just need to focus on ourselves and just do our job.
How are you feeling about that game?
Yeah, it's something about Man United away, isn't it? No matter how bad they are, I've always got that thing in the back of my head. But yeah, I think we should beat them. We're a better team than them at the end of the day. So got to go there and be confident and get the job done.
So we go there, get the job done. What do you think happens in Forest Chelsea?
Big game, isn't it? Big game. A draw.
Yeah.
High scoring draw, I think.
Yeah. I don't think Chelsea win that game. I think it's either a draw or Forest win. That's what I think happens in that one. And then, you look at Everton and Everton away at Newcastle. Like Everton's form is like they're doing all right. They're a tough team to play against. So something mad could happen there. So I think it's going to be really interesting. But what we'll do now, we'll start our content for Manchester United match preview, predicted lineups. That will be out as well. So in the coming days. So I just wanted to get Earl's thoughts on how he's feeling about the up and coming transfer window as well. So cheers for coming on, mate. Up the Villa.